Welcome back into the Daily Dose. I'm Jeff Hansen. As always, the show is brought to you by Give'emHellBrigham.com and by CougarSportsInsider.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Thank you to those of you who subscribe to the channel. We are cruising towards our goal of 3,000 subscribers by the time the season kicks off. We're pacing at a great rate. You guys are doing such an incredible job of fueling the algorithm. It really is humbling, and it means the world to me that you guys support us here at the Daily Dose. Please continue to do so. I appreciate it so much. National pundits, they're not real high on BYU this year. Sports books in Las Vegas, also not really high on BYU this year. Over under win totals, depending on the book that you look at, anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5. National media voted BYU as number 11 in the preseason Big 12 poll. A lot of people are saying BYU is going to struggle to get to a bowl game. And that might be true. They might struggle to get to a bowl game. But here at the Daily Dose, we've been a little bit more optimistic about BYU's immediate future than, say, the general college football fan. And no matter how much we talk about it, there's always this prevailing thought in the back of my mind that says, well, Jeff, you're a BYU fan. This is just blue goggles. But when I look at the roster, I see more talent. Sure, I see question marks and I have the same concerns that a lot of people have, but I see more talent on the roster this year than I have in the last several years at BYU. BYU added a lot of players out of the transfer portal who are very, very good. BYU has players who are going to develop and are ready and poised and at this platform to take off and have a really good 2023 season. There's lots of reasons that I think the talent is there for BYU to really surprise people in their first season in the Big 12, but it's always been hard to quantify that and to say with certainty that, yes, BYU is more talented. No, this is not just blue goggles talking. Well, today, the East-West Shrine Bowl released their top 1,000 players that are on effectively their watch list of all-star game eligible players who are on the watch list to receive an invitation to the East-West Shrine Bowl. Of course, that's the NFL Draft Showcase following the season. And BYU had a really surprising showing with 11 players showing up on the preseason 1,000 for the East-West Shrine Bowl. That's a lot of players. There's other teams that have more for sure, but I don't think anybody would have expected BYU to have 11 all-star game eligible players, and that didn't even include the best NFL draft prospect. So let's run through this because this finally feels like a little bit of validation for BYU fans that have been confident more talent is on the roster, but haven't seen it in a way from a third party that says, oh yeah, definitely BYU's got talent. Here we go. The 11 players that are on the East-West Shrine Bowl top 1,000 from BYU: running back Aiden Robbins, linebacker A.J. Vongfachon, linebacker Ben Bywater, offensive lineman Connor Pay, cornerback Eddie Heckard, tight end Isaac Rex, defensive tackle Jackson Cravens, quarterback Keaton Slovis, safety Malik Moore, linebacker Max Tooley, defensive back, corner, safety, whatever he wants to play, Micah Harper, and finally defensive end Tyler Batty. All 11 of those players are on the watch list, meaning the East-West Shrine Bowl has those 11 players tabbed as NFL potential. Not all of them are going to get an invite. Certainly not all of them are going to get drafted, but that's 11 players that the preseason Showcase Bowl is looking at and saying, those guys could make it to the NFL if they do the right things. Maybe they got to develop. Maybe they got to play out of their minds. Whatever it is, they're on NFL radar. That's great. And there's more guys that I think should be on that list that maybe aren't all-star game eligible. Guys like Kingsley Suamataia, of course. He's definitely BYU's best draft prospect. Caleb Etienne on the opposite side. I'm kind of surprised he wasn't on the list. Jacob Robinson, who has the ability to go down as maybe BYU's best cornerback ever if he continues at the pace that he's been playing. Fullback Mason Wake, he is draft eligible. He is all-star game eligible. But fullbacks are forgotten, and fullbacks are people too, and Mason Wake is a very, very good one. And then Cody Epps. I'd throw Cody Epps on that list as well. So the East-West Shrine Bowl says BYU has at least 11 NFL talented players. I come up with another 5 more that I would add to that list. And when you start to look at this and you say, okay, those are really guys who are only juniors and seniors, maybe this BYU team finally has the talent to compete. And they've always had talent, they've always competed, but now we're talking about true, bona fide NFL talent that is on this BYU roster, and it's sprinkled throughout the BYU roster. We're not talking one or two guys who have a shot at getting drafted. We're talking 11 guys who could, plus more, plus freshmen and sophomores that we're not even talking about yet. Guys, I think BYU is more talented than the general college football fan is giving BYU credit for. I think BYU has the ability and the potential to really surprise some people in the Big 12 conference this year. Obviously, there's going to be it's a tough test. The schedule's tough. Everything is tough. There's lots of tough, but BYU's tough too. And I'm pretty excited to see how all of that pans out. And I'm thankful for the East-West Shrine Bowl, maybe validating what the thoughts in my head for sure, but the thoughts that I think a lot of BYU fans have had that no, this roster seems more talented than 4.5 wins. Where is BYU going to get their credit? Well, it seems like the credit is starting to come. Thank you so much for spending some time with the Daily Dose, and until next time, give them hell.